Hello and greetings, fellow StarCrafters, and welcome back to game number 2 between the yellow Terran down here in the bottom left-hand corner. It is none other than Liquid Jinro, and his opponent up here, the blue Protoss player, none other than FXOz, even though he's playing under the Twilight For You name. I believe that is actually FXOz, possibly a friend of his, who is letting him use his account on the North American server, or something like that, because FXOz is, of course, plays primarily on the Korean server, as he lives in Korea. Now, this map is going to be Tal'Darim Altar. Just like Daybreak, it is going to be another very, very large map. I would not be surprised to see a Nexus first from FXOz. However, I would also not be surprised to not see it. It is possible to do some sort of 2-Rex aggression. Even on a map of this size, it is quite possible. Also, 1-1-1s can be effective on this map as well, as long as you are careful about engaging. Siege tanks are actually well favored by Terrans here, even against Protoss players, where they tend to be relatively rare, because this terrain right here, these cliffs, are so incredibly important for putting siege tanks behind. You can put a little siege tank wall. You know, either you put your siege tanks here, you could shell the expansion, or you put your siege tanks here and here, and try to engage all around. Of course, 1-1-1, well, okay, sorry, not a 1-1-1, but, not a 1-1-1 all-in. You could do that. I don't see that very often on this map, but you could do some other sort of aggression involving siege tanks, some sort of mid-range siege tank push against a Protoss player who has expanded, which could include a 1-1-1, but it is somewhat rare that I see that kind of an all-in build on this map. It looks like Jinro is actually going for a 1-Rax fast expand. Meanwhile, FXOz is in fact getting his gas. It means that he could be getting, well, he will be getting the Cyber. That you can tell because he got the gas, unless he decides to just cancel those. Not cancel them, but just not harvest any gas, and then go ahead and build the Nexus. But it looks like he is not going to be opting to do that quite a bit yet, so he will be getting the gas. Most likely, I would say he would be going for a 1-gateway expansion, unless he wants to try to put a little bit of pressure onto Liquid Jinro. He could be sending some Zealots or something like that, so we can see if he ends up getting a Zealot out, Chrono boosting it maybe, but it looks like he used the vast majority of his Chrono boost, in fact, all of his Chrono boost so far, on his probes, so that he could get as much economy as possible. The Zealot is coming out, so he is in fact getting a Zealot. Meanwhile, the command center is now coming down for Liquid Jinro right here. A bunker pretty soon will be going up right here. That's to prevent any sort of stalker shenanigans. Meanwhile, this Marine will go out here and try to stop any sort of probes from getting in. Unfortunately for him, FXOz has decided to go the long scenic route. So it's possible, in fact, likely, well, okay, so the probe's going to try to sneak past the Marine, get stuck here, then most likely the Marine will take it out. Unless FXOz decides just to pull the Marine out, or pull the probe out. Oh, and actually if he doesn't close the gate in time, oop, FXOz does turn around, so he doesn't go for the little blitzkrieg right there, and Jinro did close the gate almost immediately after seeing that probe, so he was well prepared and was not going to let him in. Now, you may say, whoa, he's already spotted the expansion and the bunker, and he knows exactly what his opponent's doing. However, he does not know the follow-up. There are so there are several different kinds of builds that you can do after a 1-Rax fast expand. You can either go double Rax into heavy Marine production. You can actually go up to 5 Raxes in heavy Marine production, although that's somewhat rarer, especially against Protosses. You can go, as you can see here, Rax into 2 gas, or you can go directly into 2 gas. If you go directly into 2 gas, then it tends to mean that you're going for a heavy, usually I would say Banshee build. You would probably tech up straight up to Starport at a minimum. Maybe you want to go for early drops or something like that. But anyway, there are a variety of builds that you can do after that. Letting the probe into your base is going to allow them to spot which ones. It looks like it is in fact going to be a 1-gate fast expansion right there. I believe, yes, he did get a Stalker right there. That Stalker is just going to keep a watchful eye. He did, I believe, see the bunker building. Yes, he did. So he knows that there is a bunker right there, so he's not going to go ahead and send a Stalker poking around, as it's not really going to accomplish much. Meanwhile, Jinro is going to spot the expansion, which is going to make him feel very, very safe at this point in time. He is not going to be worried about teching up or anything like that, as he knows no sort of aggression is going to be coming from Twilight For You, aka FXOz, anytime soon. So this Stalker is going to go up and poke, maybe fire a couple of times at the bunker, get some free damage in. He just wants to make sure not to lose any of his actual health on his Stalker right there. It looks like this SCV is actually still alive. This Sentry and Stalker right are out now. We'll be able to finish off that SCV. Stalker now joining the mix is going to go ahead and destroy it. Poor little scouting SCV. As you can see, its little corpse just standing in the exact same position and just kind of huddled over or something. He's almost like these T-bowing. I actually didn't know that SCVs T-bowed when they died, but apparently they do. T-bowing, for those of you who don't know, is when you pray in the middle of action, like action happening around you. It started with Tim Tebow, and if you're an American viewer, you almost certainly know what T-bowing is if you watch football at all. Maybe you don't, so maybe you don't know. But I think it's really funny, so I like to make jokes about T-bowing all the time. And apparently SCVs T-bow when they die and then slowly drift in. I mean, if you had to pick a time to pray, of course it'd be right before you die, repent, and you get into heaven. Just making jokes right now. Probably isn't really that funny anyway. So let's go ahead and move back into the game. Alright, looks like there is actually going to be a little bit of pressure right here. There's going to be some 3-gate pressure from FXOz. He did spot the second bunker right now, so that's going to make it a little bit harder to force field against that. Jinro's going to want to pull some SCVs, maybe get him on the front side to prevent the force fields from totally being able to stop him from mining. I believe he has, alright, so he's about 5-6 force fields right now. We'll have a couple more as the energy increases. The Zealots are going to go almost immediately straight to the bunker. He actually gets out of the bunker almost immediately. Very smart job, as now they're focusing down a bunker that doesn't have any units in it, actually. And the repairing is going to go ahead and finish. FXOz decided not to force field out those SCVs for whatever reason. I don't know why, as that's why you would get 5 sentries. Maybe he decided just to turn around the attack almost immediately. Meanwhile, Jinro is deciding to go straight up to Ghost. Those Ghosts are going to be very effective against these sentries. It's going to get rid of, obviously, all of the Protoss unit shields, but also it's going to be getting rid of their energy, which is going to prevent any additional force fielding. The SCVs have moved across and are now in a good position, surrounding the entirety of the base. And actually, this attack just isn't going to work. These aren't really that many units, and actually Liquid Jinro should actually get rid of his, well, okay, so as soon as Stim finishes, he should actually unload the units in the bunker, Stim forward, and just destroy this entire army, because that's exactly what he could do right now if he sends the SCVs with it. Looks like Jinro is deciding to, not Jinro, looks like FXOz is deciding to back out there. Very smart move. If he decided to move in, it could end up being very devastating right now. These Ghosts do deal a good amount of damage to light units, which include the Sentries and the Ghosts, and the Zealots, rather. And once they get to 75 energy, it would be even more devastating, and actually would just be able to absolutely just rip and tear through that army. Blink now on the way. Blink tends to be a more defensive ability for Protoss players. It really helps you take care of drops, as you are able to just kind of blink forward and snipe out medevacs. It allows you to blink in and out of your base, for example. I believe you can actually cross the chasm right here with some blink stalkers, or you can just kind of, makes them faster, of course, as well. Now, Jinro is going to move out with this nice little force. It's going to be a very nice Ghost timing right now. And because FXOz has spent a lot of his energy on Blink Stalkers, he is actually not going to have very many Zealots out. It's going to be composed primarily, of course, of the Blink Stalkers. He does have a decent amount of Zealots. What I meant to say is that the Zealots aren't going to be that effective just simply because they're not going to have charge, as he did opt to go for Blink first. Now, Scan is going to come up. A lot of this is going to depend on how well these EMPs are, and it actually looks like Jinro is going to turn around. That's probably a good choice, given the nice spread right here and the amount of force fields that could go on the ramp to be able to separate the army and really deal a lot of damage and to Liquid Jinro's forces. Liquid Jinro has started a third already. He is ahead of schedule compared to FXOz. FXOz, of course, has to build his Nexus on site. He cannot build it in his actually, where's the command center? There it is, inside of his main base and float it all like the lucky Terrans can. Looks like Jinro is now finally getting up to medevac tech. It's going to be very useful, of course, for healing his units and for doing some sort of drop play if Jinro decides to go that route. A couple of Zealots are going to go over here, are going to take out the rocks. Probably a third is going to start relatively soon after that, as otherwise he's going to fall fairly behind on economy. And actually, is there no robo? There is actually still no robotics facility right now. So I do want to mention that he is getting double upgrades, I believe. Okay, so he's getting level 1 right now. So he's late on his upgrades, but he is getting double upgrades. He's going to want to chrono by those extra in order to try to catch up, because actually, well, he'll actually, once these finish, it will be about the same time. Actually, Jinro will probably have his upgrades finished later. Because Jinro was actually only getting out of one engineering bay at the same time. Although his second engineering bay will finish, so maybe Jinro will be just a little bit ahead on his resources. Jinro also has Stim right now, which is going to prove very useful. Of course, it is 12 minutes into the game, so most Terran players do in fact have Stim, but he didn't have it before for this minor engagement. That's why I make note of it. He only has 2 Ghosts. However, those 2 Ghosts do have 4 EMPs total. So he should be able to get a couple of good EMPs off. He's going to want 1 good EMP on the Stalkers, and then he's going to want to EMP this unit 2 times to make sure all the Sentry energy goes away. These Stalkers are just going to poke up, probably kill 1 thing, and then blink out. Oh, he's going to lose 2 Stalkers and take some damage on another one. And a very nice EMP is actually going to reduce all of the shields on the remaining Stalkers right now. They had a little effect there for the shields being out. Oh, looks like they were able to take out that Marine right there. However, the Marine was able to deal a little bit of health damage on those Stalkers. Stalkers are going to go ahead and see that there is not a third and probably back out. Maybe they'll move up again, but FXOz needs to be very careful, especially since Jinro can actually just send his unit up to sandwich here. Of course, he has to be careful because FXOz's army is right above that. He has a photon cannon on the way. That's because he doesn't have a robotics facility. He does not want to get caught by any sort of cloaking ghost shenanigans. This is actually like a Terran player right now, building proxy turrets to make sure that he has detection, you know, for Dark Templars or something like that. So this is almost a hard contain at this point. Cannon, of course, is going to help in any sort of engagement as well. And actually, Jinro would be very smart right now to actually go ahead and do a drop, because I don't think FXOz really has that much back at his base. He has a couple Zealots and a High Templar. Very smart, keeping the High Templar back right now. First of all, so it can regenerate energy, and second of all, so it can feed back any sort of medevacs that are coming through. Now, okay, so the drop is coming through. Unfortunately, there is a pylon right there that will spot any drops, so that's why Jinro isn't loading. He will take out that pylon. Meanwhile, weapons level 2 is on the way for Jinro. Weapons level 2 is also on the way, as well as armor level 2 for Oz. So he is catching up on the upgrade front right there. That pylon will be taken out, and then Jinro can decide. It looks like he's actually going to keep going. He will if he spots that pylon. Looks like he is not going to spot that pylon. Alright, so he's going to move in. There aren't any SCVs or any probes here over here to kill. He is going to take out that pylon right there. So he's doing a decent amount of damage, especially if he keeps this little force alive. Oh, if he doesn't pull out now, he will not be able to do that. It looks like he will not be able to do that. Able to focus down. Looks like just one Stalker. Yep, indeed. Just one Stalker there. Scan is going to reveal the heavy Zealot composition of FXOz right now, and he's actually almost maxed out. Kind of interesting contain here, because it does allow Jinro to take 3 bases at the same time. Looks like one Marauder is going to stem out just to see exactly what he can see. Small little group up here is going to make sure that there aren't any forces, and actually it looks like Jinro is moving out to engage right here. I do not think this is a very good idea. How many High Templar are there? There are 4 High Templar, and I think a 5th one right here, and they all have storms, except for this one right here, who is brand new. He just got out of the academy, just trained in the High Templar arts. So it's going to be a very difficult engagement for Jinro, and actually both of these players are playing very passively right now. I do have to say, I mean, there's a little bit of drops going on, but for 17 minutes in the game, neither player has really engaged the other player in any sort of serious engagement. It is a fairly passive game. It's almost like a 15-minute no rush. Those of you who used to play Brood War, players who used to do that, I used to do no rushes all the time, because I hated players who rushed when I played Brood War. Then again, I was a very small child as well. Looks like these Zealots are going to move in, change their mind, and then move in again. That is actually going to waste his charge a little bit. Nice EMP is going to remove the shield from some of those Zealots right there. Meanwhile, looks like Jinro is going to follow this engagement and steal a couple of additional free kills on those Zealots. War Prism is holding a number of High Templar. You may ask yourself, why are they putting High Templar inside of a War Prism? And the reason is, of course, EMPs, because if you EMP the War Prism while it has High Templar in it, the High Templar retains their energy so that they can still actually, storm once you drop them out of it. Looks like it's some nice feedbacks. Killed a ghost there, I believe. Looks like that pylon and that cannon were in fact taken out. I do not know that Jinro knows that his opponent, missed his EMP right there. He's going to be very careful not to waste any EMPs. Looks like this little cannon is going to be taken out as well. A couple of good feedbacks right there on the ghost. Able to deal some serious damage. Some more feedbacks have been taken out. However, he did in fact get EMP'd. And, finish off the High Templar. He only has 4 health. Looks like the engagement is going to happen right now. A lot of Zealots are moving in. Some storms, very poorly placed, however. Actually storming the majority of his own Zealots right now. Some decent micro from Jinro, kiting those Zealots right now, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. I don't think he has high enough DPS to deal with all of these Zealots. Unfortunately for him, FXOz is not bringing all of his forces forward right now, so they're actually only dealing with a portion of his army, and actually Jinro is going to go ahead and win this engagement right there. There's this huge group of Zealots that should have been moving up. FXOz with some very poor control there. And, okay, so he does have the 4 sentries right there, which should be able to force with the ramp, which is at least going to keep Jinro on his toes right now. But Jinro has taken a supply lead at this point in time. Oh, and I entirely missed a drop right here. Drop inside, has taken out the Colossus tech right there, and has taken out his 3rd right now. FXOz in a huge amount of trouble right now. Jinro is in a very nice spot. He just needs to hold off this final attack, and he should be in a very good position to be able to take this game right now. He's going to want to move in and try to engage this army. However, he has to do so very carefully. Looks like this drop was in fact cleaned up. Looks like they're picked up, but they're going to be dropping off again. Meanwhile, a storm is going to go ahead and miss right there. Another storm is actually going to miss. It's going to hit a couple of ghosts, but that's not going to be enough damage actually to be able to cause right here. Meanwhile, a couple of these this drop has been dropped off again, is dealing more damage right there. And looks like this army is going to slowly lumber back out of here, and Jinro still in a very nice position. He did manage to save both command centers, so he could actually take a fourth base right now if he felt secure in that fact. Of course, he knows that he took out his opponent's third, so he knows that he just needs to win this engagement right here. So all of his attention right here, it looks like he's doing it quite well. He's able to his Marauders are able to focus down all of the Zealots. Once all of the Zealots are gone, the rest of the forces will mount quite quickly to those Marauders, as the vast majority of them are armored. There are additional forces right here, but looks like he is just going to go ahead and keep on walking straight back, take out those two ghosts. And looks like FXOz is a little bit of a loss right here. Looks like this force was finally cleaned up by these Zealots right there, and these two dropships are going to go ahead and head on home right now. Let's take a look at the income tab. Okay, so the income tab, it looks like the Protoss player is in fact ahead by 10 harvesters right now, which is a nice lead. However, unfortunately for him, he is going to be going against 4 orbitals right now, which is going to be a lot of mules, as well as some oversaturation there, which is the only thing keeping the incomes relatively similar right now. Another Nexus is going down right now, and his forces are going to go ahead and go home after that unfortunately brutal defeat that did deal a decent amount of damage. He does have a hit in the third right here, which Jinro actually did just spot with those Marine right there, which is now Marine parts. So, yep, there you see his forces right there. So, he is in a pretty good position still. He is 15 supply ahead. If his saturation is fixed, he should be ahead on income. Yes, it is actually fixed. Maybe it should be about equal on income. It looks like the harvester count is balancing out the mules right now. However, Jinro is still oversaturated, so he should be looking to take his fourth right now, and that should put him in a very good position. This Marine, very intelligently placed right there, is to prevent any sort of pylon from going down from any probes that are wandering around up here. Oh, wow, that's a lot of medevacs right now. A lot of medevacs for a relatively small army. That's going to be very nice for healing any of these sorts of units after stim. Oh, missed with 2 EMPs, actually. It's very unfortunate for Liquid Jinro right there. Scan is going to go down and reveal exactly what forces are up here. Going to be able to go ahead and focus them down. I don't think he lost any forces right there. FXOz was trying to be fancy with his little Twilight, well, with his Templar micro right there, but not able to be too successful right there. Probably should have gone for feedbacks on the Ghost, although I don't think he had range on that. A small little drop is going to go ahead and land on that base right there. Looks like, ooh, I think the sound's actually lagging a little bit. I kind of wonder what that is. My sound like randomly lags just a little bit. It might be my sound drivers. But it shouldn't be my sound drivers because they're new, so I don't know. I'll try to figure it out. Looks like this drop is going to actually be able to lay all of his forces. FXOz was too busy preparing with the other drop right there, or with the main attack arm right here, actually, to be able to deal with that drop. And it looks like he will be able to take out that cannon. However, this fresh weapon and Zealots will be able to deal with it. Almost assuredly, Jinro should probably actually pick up to try to save those Marauders' lives. I think he's not going to do that. Did take a decent amount of damage there, as it looks like he did stim and possibly take a couple of storms right there. Very minor engagement. I don't think too much was lost. Looks like, nope. In fact, he did not save any of the Marauders. The poor Marauders sacrificed their lives for the good of the Terran race. And actually, it looks like he is, in fact, going for Ghost Cloaking right now. I can't actually tell the difference between Banshee Cloaking and Ghost Cloaking. Of course, he doesn't have any Banshees, so why would he be getting Banshee Cloaking? That's going to be very useful. He should have gotten it before when FXOz did not, in fact, have any sort of cloak detection, though. But it still could be useful. You can step observers, you can EMP observers, and then take them out with the Ghost. They can Ghost kill observers quite quickly, so that can be quite useful in that respect as well. Looks like this army is going to be moving out. It's possibly is going to lead to a base trade scenario unless FXOz decides to go try to save his expansion. It's definitely not going to be saved, but he could try to take out the army of Liquid Jinro, actually. Looks like some nice snipes from the Ghost on the High Templar is going to prevent any storms from going down. He's going to stab that last High Templar. Does not get a storm off. Looks like it is actually going to be a base trade scenario. Looks like I can't escape these with my castings. And EMP there is actually going to whiff on the vast majority of the Protoss units. The Protoss units are in the middle of this base. Now, unfortunately for Jinro right now, he has to go right away straight to his opponent's base. He does have a little minor drop right here, which is causing a little bit of damage. But unfortunately for him, the Protoss player is parked on top of his production facilities. And that's exactly how you want to destroy Terrans right now, is when you kill the units as they're coming out. There's no way for them to group up and deal additional damage. Unlike Protoss, you can warp in altogether. And actually, Jinro's taking way too long to respond to this. Is he going home? He definitely should not be going home. That's the one place he shouldn't be going. As if he goes home, first of all, FXOz might be able to avoid the conflict at all. Like, he just kind of avoids this entirety of this conflict. And even if he does avoid the conflict, he has all day to try to rebuild his army after it gets taken out. Look at how many resources he has floating right now. That's 1,300 resources and 1,000 gas that he is floating. That he can use to rebuild his army, and he's already destroyed the entirety of his opponent's army right there. Looks like those ghosts are trying to go around. Got some free shots on the Colossus. I think he got maybe one free Colossus as it was coming down out of production. Looks like these ghosts are going to go ahead and cloak, and are probably going to be aiming to snipe a couple of these High Templars. Nice Storm is going to deal a decent amount of damage to these Banshees. However, the ghosts are still sniped, able to take out all of the High Templars right now, and the rest of the Protoss army, as he was able to snipe all of the observers there. So he was able to cost-effectively actually kill the rest of that army, and he is actually ahead of supply. Oh, and I read the resources wrong. That was actually our Terran player right there with so many resources. And of course, the reason he has so many resources is because all of his production facilities were destroyed. Meanwhile, FXOz is macroing as hard as possible. He is down to this third base, which of course just got up and running again. That is his only mining base right now, so he's going to have to try to hold off the entirety of this Terran army right now. So it is actually possible that Liquid Jinro made the right choice by going home in that scenario. Though still not that was the case, because he could have sent a force up top to try to, or actually, he could have got up top, killed his opponent's army, killed his opponent's base, and because he had the better army, possibly killed his opponent's army as well. Now it remains to be seen if Jinro is going to be able to move in here and kill this entirety of this army. Looks like the Archon is going to spawn. However, the High Templar will be focused down. Will get a storm buff, however, will not actually get any kills right now. It remains to be seen how this conflict is going to happen. Looks like these ghosts are probably going to cloak and get a number of very nice EMPs off. He does have a huge ghost count right now. Very nice EMP. EMP is a good portion of the Protoss army right there. And some additional EMPs. Oh, able to take out the shields from all these units. And only a couple of storms left for the High Templar player. For the Protoss player. And a couple of snipes are going to take out the rest majority of those. The Observer is going to come in and be able to spot the ghost right there. He's going to want to EMP those last two. I do not know if Jinro sees it. Looks like he does see it. He's going to want to EMP those. But unfortunately, they're wasting their storms on the ghost right now. But those Zealots are unfortunately very hard to deal with right now. They do are 3-3 upgraded. These Marines are 3-2 upgraded. However, Marauders do not do very much damage to Zealots. Probes are coming off the line as well to be able to deal with this, as I'm sure that FXOz does believe that if he is able to defeat this army, he should be able to come back in this game, simply because how much damage he caused to his opponent's main base in that attack. And in fact, he does in fact destroy it. Of course, this Nexus was focused down during the combat as well, so it's going to greatly hamper the amount of resources that FXOz has. And that's part of the reason why he's pulled the probes as well. Actually, this is basically an all-in right now, as he does not have any mining bases. He doesn't have enough resources to build a Nexus either. So he's going to go ahead and move in. Let's go ahead and see if this is going to be successful. I do not think this is going to be successful for Liquid Jinro. Liquid Jinro is a very small army right now. If we go into the army tab, he only has 11 Marines, 4 Marauders, and 4 Banshees. Those Banshees are going to be very useful right now. I do not see an Observer. Oh, wow, is there an Observer? There is not an Observer. Oh, there's one Observer. Where is it? Where is this Observer? Uh-oh. Does he have cloak for his Banshees? He better have cloak. Looks like a scan is going down just to see if there is an Observer right there. Here are the cloaked Banshees, and there is the Observer, which comes in at the last second. No feedbacks on these Banshees quite yet. Banshees are going to want to try to focus down all of the anti-air units right now, doing a pretty good job. Tried to focus down on the Observer, not quite able to take it out, however. But those Banshees have a very high DPS. They're dealing a lot of damage to the Archons right now. The Archons are able to fire on the Banshees because the Banshees are not biological. They're not dealing very much damage right there. So it actually looks like Liquid Jinro with these Banshees is able to deal a lot of damage here. He has now added a 5th and a 6th Banshee right now, able to take out that last Archon, and there are only 2 more Stalkers left for FXOz. Oh no, there is one more Archon. My mistake. That Archon will be focused down fairly quickly. However, as long as he avoids the splash damage from that Archon, he should be in perfect shape in order to take this game. That Observer is only at 6 health. It went down all the way to 6 health. He's going to want to scan again, try to take out the Observer. Looks like he's not actually going to do that. He might not have. He does actually have a scan available. Looks like the Zealots are destroying the vast majority of his probe line, however. But he should be in a good position. Alright, that is the last Banshee right now. These forces are still attacking his base, but there's nothing that attacks air right now, so the Banshee should be able to clean up the rest of FXOz's forces, and he is out of resource. He is down to 2 High Templar. Where is High Templar? Got a Zolt there, Zolt, no Proil on there. Where is High Templar? He has 2 High Templar back at base and like 5 probes that are long distance mining. Looks like he's sending the rest of his forces back, but now all Jinro needs to do is send his Banshees forward. I think he actually does not have the gas to afford another Banshee at quite this moment, but he should send the Banshee directly towards his opponent's base. He should park it right here, and he can even cloak it and decloak it, and it's basically not going to be touched by those High Templar. Where are those High Templar? Uh-oh. Alright, here's the High Templar. It can't be touched as long as it doesn't have energy. I mean, they can storm it, but all you have to do is dodge the storm, and there are 2 Banshees from which to deal with those forces. Now, these zealots are running around. There is another little base right here, which is where he's dropping all of his mules right now, and it has his engineering bay, and another marine, actually. I don't know if he knows about that. These 2 Banshees are moving across, and they're going to want to cloak real quickly. Uh-oh. Cloak, 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 cloak. No! The feedback does go off. It's very unfortunate for Liquid Jinro right there, as that means that, I think, 3 more hits from a Storm are going to go ahead and finish those off. Now, okay, he's down to 1 High Templar. These don't have, like, any energy right now, but Jinro needs to be super careful. Okay, well, Jinro basically still has this game. Yeah, I mean, he's getting High Templar, okay, which is the only thing he can afford because the only thing he's mining right now is gas out of 1 assimilator right now. So he's getting High Templar. Those High Templar do have feedback, they do have Storm, but that's the only way he can actually deal with these Banshees. I don't think Jinro actually realizes how far behind he is as a result of that. And Jinro is actually, yes, Jinro should absolutely win this. He's going to pick off that High Templar cloak. There you go. Cloaked his Banshees. And High Templar will be picked off right there, and now he can go ahead and spend all the rest of his time picking off all of these probes. And there is the GG from FXOz. Very nice game from Liquid Jinro. I can't believe what a ridiculous base trade scenario that got in. There was a ninja expansion which was spotted by Liquid Jinro, which I don't even notice because I was paying too much attention to the combat, and actually that expansion might have been before the combat, but nonetheless, Jinro decided, well, you know, my entire base was destroyed. He rebuilt his tech as quickly as possible. He went straight to Cloaked Banshees and got as many Cloaked Banshees out as he could. He got out, I believe it was 6 Cloaked Banshees by the time his opponent attacked, and because he was able to focus down his opponent's last mining base, he had to do an all-in, right? FXOz just did an all-in, and FXOz just didn't have the resources to build enough stalkers to deal with the Banshees, and as a result, Liquid Jinro was able to take that game. I am definitely a huge Liquid Jinro fan, so I'm very happy to see him win. Of course, I am a huge Oz fan as well, but this is a very nice game, very odd game. It's kind of a weird base trade. It's usually, typically, pro tip right now, typically you do not want to go home in a base trade, especially if the map is Tal'Darim Altar, one of the biggest maps in the map pool, and you are kitty corner to your home base. You, generally speaking, want to go straight to your opponent's base and try to deal as much damage as possible. Jinro decided, you know what, I think that I can win. Despite the fact that my opponent's already in my base, I can go take out his army, my army's stronger, and then even after that, I should be in a good position to deal a lot of damage in the counterattack, which is exactly what he did. Barely able to take out that Nexus. I believe he focus fired right away in the combat, and then he just got out the Banshees necessary, was able to macro them just perfectly enough in which he was able to keep them alive, and end up pulling through, winning this game. Very nice game from these 2 players. Definitely a big fan. Seeing these players play, very impressive. This is PGL Milncraft signing out. Thanks for watching.